Why are there police cars around here?
They're here. They're waiting for you, Bob.
They are? Okay, well, listen, Donald Trump, let me just say this to you, buddy. I moved up a block, so you haven't got me yet. After several recent debate disasters, Texas governor and Republican presidential candidate Rick Perry may consider skipping some of them while he goes on a desperate hunt for his mojo. You go ahead. Let me ask you, what do you think the strategy would be in skipping debates?
I think that they're thinking that's his biggest weakness. So let's do what we did when he was governor of Texas. Let's duck a lot of these debates. This way, we can avoid all these potential gaffes that have plagued him in the past. But I think it's a really stupid move. I think he cannot afford to miss these debates. And I called around to the other campaigns to see what they're doing, because his press secretary, Perry's, I should say, said, well, you know what? It's impossible to commit to all of them. Not so. Bachmann has committed to all of them. I believe there's 9 televised debates till the end of the year. Gingrich has committed to all of them as well. Kaine has soft committed to some, but has hard committed to the Michigan debate. And Romney and Santorum never got back to us.
I think you're exactly. Here's the problem for Perry. Yes, he has some problems with debates, but there's only 2 months left to the Iowa caucus.
Right.
You're not going to turn down a televised debate. You can't do it. So what he did in Iowa was kind of interesting. He's running radio or television ads, which are positive ads, or at least they're not negative against his opponents. They're against Obama. And I think if I were he, I would go to all these debates. He can't afford not to do that. And he also needs to go and start engaging some people. Look, this guy is in trouble in the polls. He's got to use his money to get back in the game.
18 more, though? I mean, if
no, not 18, 9. But if there's 9 televised, I'd do 9.
There's 18 more debates.
I know, but they're not all televised.
Oh, so just do well, maybe that's what he means. Maybe he'll do the televised.
Maybe that's what he'll do. I don't know.
They really did. They were not. They didn't say they weren't going to do them. And they have a new team. Remember, we talked about that earlier in the week, that they've hired some more people. So maybe they're just taking a moment, looking at all of this. But unfortunately for them and for all of us, well, actually, I like the debates, you have to eat your spinach. And you're going to have to sit there at the table until you're finished with your spinach. And they're going to just have to do these debates. And he'll get better at it.
Did your mom make you eat spinach?
Yes.
She did? Okay.
And if I didn't, I had to go to my room.
What kind of lesson, Bob, is this teaching the children? That just because you're bad at something, you have to skip it? If we skipped everything we were bad at, I would never do laundry.
Can I give
There'd
you
be no
another
women's
analogy?
sports.
You give the
you wouldn't drink much either.
Yeah.
Dana says eat your spinach. I'll give you the other analogy. You're an ex-athlete. These are all exhibition games. These debates are exhibition games. Yeah, it tweaks your swing. People come out and see them. Eventually, you got to play the game. And playing the game is getting out there, getting the votes, talking to real people, not just answering the same darn questions against HPV and immigration. Get out there and show people.
Hey, I wanted to ask Bob one thing, which is because what I always understood is that on the presidential debates, it just makes the whole campaign comes to a stop. And everybody has to focus on the debate and get the candidate ready for all sorts of types of little questions. Do you think that that has changed? And if you were them, would you have worked together to limit the number of debates that were being offered?
They won't do that because they've all got their own constituents. But generally, the rule of thumb is you take 2.5 days out of a campaign week to get ready for a debate and to do the debate itself. You're right. It is exhibition season, except that the difference here is with such an unformed Republican primary ballot or candidates, you're seeing them moving all around. What's moving them? It's been debate so far. Now, I think TV will start to move them, and I think that's where Perry's got a big advantage. He's going to be able to spend some money. The rest of them can't.
Here's what I would do if I were Perry. I would embrace the George Bush conservatives and embrace George Bush. That's something that a lot of these candidates haven't done yet, and here's why. Because there's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines now. A lot of those Bush Rangers, remember, Dana, who rounded up a ton of money, are still holding their cash. And that's an easy way. These guys have not lined up behind Mitt Romney. And you embrace Bush during these debates, and you can fundraise on the side. Remember, that's his excuse for not doing these debates. Well, he needs to fundraise in part.
I would agree. I'm on the side of George W. Bush.
Sure.
But a lot of people have said that one of the things that Perry has going for him, I don't necessarily agree with this. Another point of view, it's that he tweaks the establishment.
Okay,
and that he drives them crazy, which a lot of those Rangers might be considered establishment.
And if very quickly, if he did, that would be doing a lot what Romney already does do.
Let me move you on to one subject here. There's somebody who's quietly sneaking up on this race in the polls, and that's Newt Gingrich. Not because I predicted him the other day, but because the guy seems, I think, to be the adult of these debates. He's come across as a guy who's reasoned. Nobody can argue that he's not smart. I still think this guy is a dark horse who could win in Iowa. What do you think?
Can I say something?
Yes, I certainly do want you to say something.
They're calling it Newt's Tortoise Campaign, which sounds like an Everglades theme park. But it's kind of odd. He does kind of look like a tortoise, and he's thoughtful. And I actually, you know, he says he has a good chance of being the nominee. I'm starting to kind of believe him.
Okay, listen, we can't let this one go by. Pat Robertson, right?
Yes.
Pat Robertson says that this group of people are radical. This is the same guy that said gays were responsible for Katrina. Now, what do you think, Dan? I mean,
well, I think that if he thinks that this crowd is radical, then he must think that I am out of this world conservative.
I mean, ain't that the truth? You know, what do you think Eric is then? Someplace
Like on
over
the moon.
Mars. I mean,
You just have to understand. Look, the reason why Romney gets 23% all the time is because the establishment is behind him and everyone else is vying for everything else. But what everyone's failing to do, and you inclusive, is to really see the power and the numbers behind the anti-establishment GOPers.
Like the Pat Robertson people?
Yeah.
Really
What does that have to do with Pat Robertson?
No, but he's
That's
saying
not
the
where-
exact same
Pal,
thing.
I've
He's
been
saying-
teaming up with you on Perry
He's
here.
belittling the far-right conservative, true conservative, the way that Bob does, the way that the left does, the way that the establishment does as well.
Yeah, but
Wow.
the establishment.
Wow, that was quite a shot.
But the
taken right
establishment
at me.
money,
How does everyone
the
feel about
establishment
that?
money has yet to be released. And you watch, you're going to see Perry start to embrace.
Can we make a
I've
pact to stop
No, I've
interviewing
got a
Pat
tease.
Robertson?
I got a
Can we
tease.
just stop interviewing Pat
I got a
Robertson?
tease. You know what tease means?
No, please.
No,
Please,
it's like you
Bob.
ever tease some. Anyway, coming up. The Occupy Wall Street protesters did a good job garnering support.
Oh, come on.
Their next move, a national-wide strike next week.
You're supposed to want to
That's
make
right
people
here on
stay
the 5.
That's
Oh,
not.
yeah, come on back and listen to everybody beat up on the Wall Street.
Anti-tease. That's the anti-tease.